Hello, and welcome to the Queensborough Community College Center for International Affairs, Immigration, and Study Abroad. We congratulate you on your acceptance to our college and are pleased that you have selected our institution as the next step in your educational journey. In order to enter the United States to begin your academic program, you must obtain an F1 visa. To apply for an F1 visa, you must first acquire from our office a Form I-20, Certificate of Eligibility for Non-Immigrant Student Status. The purpose of this form is to confirm that you will attend a U.S. school approved by the Student and Exchange Visitor Program for a given time period, and that you will be able to pay all program-related expenses. In other words, you must show evidence that you and/or your sponsor has sufficient financial resources needed for the entire duration of your degree. This video will present an overview of the information and documents that must be submitted to our office in order to obtain an I-20. Let's begin with page 1. For Field 1, enter your country of citizenship, which is the country that issued your passport. Also, enter your country of residence, the country in which you have a permanent home. Please note that if you are a citizen of any European Union country, you must first complete CUNY's General Data Protection Regulation Acknowledgement Form. This form grants our office permission to collect your data so we can evaluate your I-20 application. I-20 applications from EU citizens that do not include this form cannot be considered and will not be accepted. For Field 2, please enter your family name followed by your given name. Also, please check the box that states whether you are male or female. For Field 3, enter your primary residence. If you currently live outside the United States, please enter your address. If you are already living in the United States, you can enter your U.S. address here. Enter your cell phone, alternate contact number, and email in Field 4. For Field 5, enter your date of birth in the format month, day, year, and your city and country of birth. For Field 6, enter your overseas address. This is the address in your country of residence. Please do not put your U.S. address in this field. Your U.S. address will go in Field 7. For Field 8, enter your expected semester of enrollment, which is listed on your Queensborough acceptance letter. Enter your program of study in Field 9, which is the name of the curriculum listed on your Queensborough acceptance letter. Indicate whether you completed high school in Field 10. For Field 11, check the box indicating whether you are currently attending a U.S. institution. In Field 12, check the box indicating whether you currently hold F1 status. Fields 13 through 17 apply to individuals who already have a non-immigrant visa status. If you are outside the U.S., leave this section blank. For Field 13, check the box that indicates whether you hold F1 student status and whether your status is active. For Field 14, enter the name of your institution that issued your most recent Form I-20 and your SEVIS ID number. Your SEVIS ID number is a 10-digit number located on the upper left-hand corner of the form. For Field 15, enter our college's name and address, Queensborough Community College, 222-05 56th Avenue, Bayside, New York, 11364. For Field 16, enter the visa class under which you entered the U.S. if it is other than F1. For Field 17, enter your I-94 number and expiration date. You can locate this information by visiting the I-94 website and following the on-screen instructions. If you are here on an F1 visa, enter D/S. This stands for Duration of Status, which means that as long as you are enrolled in an SEVP-approved college, your presence in the United States is legal. There is no fixed end date to your valid status. If you are in a status other than F1, enter your I-94 expiration date. Next is page 2, Declaration and Certification of Finances. This page provides a summary of all your sources of financial support and any other individuals who may be accompanying you to the United States. If you are providing your own funds for your study in whole or in part, enter your name, the name and location of your bank in Field A, and enter the amount of money that will be supplied to you for each year. Be aware that if you wish to be your own sponsor, you must show that you have enough money to cover all 3 years of your program expenses. Enter the name, sex, and age of each individual that will be accompanying you to the United States in Section B. Be aware that for each dependent included in the application, your annual program expenses total will be higher. For the exact amount of increase, please consult page 4 of our I-20 application. In Section C, list the name and relationship to you of each individual who will provide you support. In each column, enter the amount that each person can provide you for each year. Any other type of sponsor will go into Field D. Make sure to add each column and enter the sum in the grand totals row at the bottom, as well as print, sign, and date the page. There is no limit to how many sponsors you may have. Sponsors may reside outside or inside the U.S. Sponsors do not have to be directly related to you. As long as each sponsor provides the documents necessary, they may contribute toward your program-related expenses. Each sponsor must complete an affidavit of support. The sponsor must include in Field 1 his or her name, country of citizenship, address, and phone number. If the sponsor is a citizen of any European Union country, he or she must first complete CUNY's General Data Protection Regulation Acknowledgement form mentioned earlier in the video. Affidavits from EU citizens that do not include this form cannot be considered and will not be accepted. For Field 2, enter the name and address of the employer as well as the sponsor's gross income earned from this employment. For Field 3, the sponsor enters his or her current bank balance and the name and address of the bank. For Field 4, the sponsor must indicate how many people are dependent on the income listed in Field 2. Do not include the F1 applicant in this total. Also, be sure to include the gross income listed in Field 2 as well as an estimation of that sponsor's annual expenses. If the sponsor is providing financial support for individuals that are immigrating to the United States, enter the number of people in Field 4B. Do not include the student in this total, for F1 status is considered a non-immigrant status. Be sure to provide an accurate estimation of expenses, for the difference between the income and expenses will determine how much financial support the sponsor can provide the F1 applicant. For Field 5, the sponsor will enter your name, date of birth, and relationship to you. Field 6 will include your name, the amount of support your sponsor can provide you, and the date when the support will terminate. As we issue an I-20 for 3 years, the end date must be no earlier than 3 years after your program's start date. Note that the amount of support must not exceed the difference between the sponsor's income and expenses, the figures listed in Field 4A. If the sponsor lives close to Queensborough and wishes to provide you room and board, he or she must also include proof that she or he pays to live at the address listed in Field 1. Acceptable forms of proof include a current mortgage statement, a lease, or renter's agreement. If the sponsor provides this document, he or she can check one of the boxes in Field 7. The corresponding monetary value will then be deducted from the total annual program expenses. Once the affidavit is complete, the sponsor will sign, date, and print his or her name at the bottom. Now that we have covered the application itself, we will now review the types of supporting documents that must be included with the application. If you wish to review the documents more carefully, feel free to pause the video at any time. These documents can also be found on our website. To prove that he or she has the liquid assets listed in the affidavit, a sponsor must provide a bank statement that includes the sponsor's name, name of the bank, current balance, and transaction history for the last 3 months. Bank letters will not be accepted. In addition, a sponsor must provide 2 forms of proof to verify income. One form of proof is a pay stub, a document that includes the sponsor's name, employer, amount paid, and amount of time worked. Another form of proof is a job letter written on company stationery that includes the sponsor's name, position, and annual income. The bank statement can also serve as proof of income, provided that the transaction history shows regular deposits that match the amount listed on the affidavit and other proof of income. In addition, a sponsor can include his or her latest tax return. This document must include the sponsor's name and the amount of money earned in that tax period. Tax documents that do not include this figure cannot be accepted. To meet the minimum financial standards required, a sponsor must have sufficient liquid assets to cover program-related expenses for the first year of study. This figure is listed on page 4 of the application. To cover the second 2 years of study, the difference between a sponsor's income and expenses must not be less than the total annual expenses listed on page 4. If the sponsor has liquid assets that can cover more than 1 year of study, however, this may compensate for lower income. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it has been helpful in providing guidance in preparing your I-20 application. If you have further questions regarding the application process, please email us at isc@qcc.cuny.edu.